Hello, Maggie. How are you doing today? I hope all is well. I have a Kindle Paperwhite, and I really like it, but I can't speak to the other Kindle devices. Oh,
Interesting.
Oh, like novella.
Oh, that makes sense now that you say that.
Yeah, now that you say it out loud, I will have to check that out, especially because I am wanting to serialize this. I have some homework to do on the next sprint. Thank you for letting me know that. I did my homework, so you don't have to. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first video, hello, how are you doing? I hope you have a good time. So, Kindle Vella is a new thing that Amazon has announced, and a lot of writers have been talking about it. And I've seen a lot of good things said about it, and a lot of erroneous things, and a lot of things that I think are just confused going around. So I'd like to have a talk with you today about Kindle Vella and what it could potentially mean for readers and writers, and whether or not it is a good thing, a bad thing, or, as in most things in life, a nuanced discussion that needs to happen about something that is a little bit of all the above. So, what is Kindle Vella? In short, Kindle Vella is a new way of posting your work to the Amazon store, but not a new way of posting your work in total. If you have ever worked on a web novel or on a lot of different sites, be it Wattpad or Royal Road or anything like that, you've used something akin to Vella. Essentially, you get the ability to post your story one chapter at a time, and readers get to read along with you. It's serialization for the 21st century! The thing that we've been promised since the mid-2000s that has never happened. But now with the mammoth weight of Amazon behind it, there's a potential for it to actually happen. So, how does Kindle Vella work? When you're posting your chapters, each chapter has to be within a certain word count range, between 600 and 5,000 words. You put it up there, you post your story, readers can read your story, and we'll get into that more in just a second, and they can follow the series to be notified when a new episode comes out. They can like the episode, or they can give it a fave. And I'm not going to go into faves that much in this video because we're going to have to see how this actually gets implemented. In the video that they released to announce this new product, you're going to get kind of fave stickers that you can assign to stuff that you're reading. And based on how many of those stickers a work gets, they can show up on leaderboards for those categories. That's what it sounds like at the moment. That's what it is. They also give you the ability to add author notes to your work. I'm kind of okay with this. I wish that we could do more of that. I really love the interaction with my readers, so I'm kind of fine with that. But nothing is really groundbreaking. Nothing is really overly exciting, except for the fact that this is a Kindle product. This is an Amazon product. So Amazon has to find a way to make it complex and problematic for writers. And this is where a lot of the confusion has come in. First of all, they don't have that many categories available. I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can actually read them to you. As of the recording of this video, the only categories that you can choose from are action-adventure, dystopian, erotica, fantasy, historical fiction, humor, mystery, paranormal, romance, science fiction, teen and young adult, and thriller. Now, once you select that, you get to choose a subcategory! Yay! And it's the same list that I read before with the addition of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender fiction. Oh, I could do an entire episode about how that's just a subgenre, but I won't. Now, where this gets confusing is for anybody who isn't a writer, you're now allowed to add 7, a whole 7 tags to your story to help people find it better. 7. And then, again, for the erotica writers, this gets more confusing because you're only allowed to put in non-sexually themed or offensive or unoffensive tags. What does that mean? So I'm not an erotica writer, at least not at this point in my career, and I reached out to Amazon, and unsurprisingly, they have not gotten back to me because, I'm a little fish in a big sea. So I don't know exactly what this means. Hopefully other people will be able to answer that question and be able to give us a valuable answer. And then we send it out into the world. The first 3 chapters of the story will be free. That way people can get an idea of whether or not they want to continue reading. I don't have a problem with that. Giving away free stuff has always been one of the best ways for me to get people into my writing. My writing is weird. It isn't always the easiest to explain to people, but if I can get them to start reading it, often I can get them to finish the work. So I don't have a problem with that. The rest have to be paid for with coins. Coins. Yes, Amazon now has its own in-game currency, coins. Up on the screen right now, you will see the breakdown of how much it costs to buy bundles of coins and what that breaks down to on a per coin basis. Basically, in short, it's going to be basically somewhere between a penny and 9/10 of a cent to buy a coin for the reader. This, I think, is going to be the first barrier of entry in here because I do not like in-game currencies. I don't like having to buy special Disney bucks. I'm not a big fan of this, though this is kind of the industry standard for places that allow you to make money off of serialized fiction, so we'll see. I really don't like this aspect of it. This is where they come for us. This is where they come for writers, and writers specifically, because how do we figure out how much we make per story? Well, we take how many coins the chapter is worth times the value of a coin, which is based off of how much they spent on the package, minus any fees or charges. Yeah. And then we get half of that. So, unlike Amazon, 50% is 50%, but what this means is if your readers buy their coins through Amazon, you will make more money than if people buy their coins on their phone or tablet, because Android and iOS both have a processing fee that they pass on. Now, they very specifically say fees, which means they may also be taking out the credit card processing fee in here as well. This is not expressly stated because they're just allowed to take out charges and fees from that value of a coin. Again, business-wise, I see the logic in this, but it makes everything much more opaque and harder for us to see, harder for us to read, harder for us to understand. So right here, you can see, here's the value of a coin bought either through Amazon or through anyone else. And I used a 30% discount for the coins that were bought through anyone other than Amazon because both Android and iOS have a 30% charge for selling in-app purchases. So you can see how that plays out here in that it cuts 30% off the initial value of the coin. Yay. So what does that mean to us? What that means is each coin to us is going to be from around 0.3 of a cent to 0.5 of a cent, which is a small difference, but is a big difference as things add up. If you really want to understand that, watch, I think it's Superman 3 or Office Space. Little bitty amounts like this can really add up over time. I've seen a lot of people pointing at these numbers and saying that these numbers are what bother them. These are not the numbers that bother me. Very simply put, if this is the way you want to look at how Kindle Vella works, here's how this boils down. 1 coin equals 100 words. You do not get to set the price of your work on Kindle Vella. So, for every 100 words of your story, the price will be set at 1 coin. As a result of that, you can see on the screen now, this is how much you can expect to make per word. This is not a valuable way of looking at things. The only reason why I went through and I did the math is I've seen a lot of people talking about this and a lot of people going, well, we should be paid 3 cents a word, we should be paid 5 cents a word, we should be paid 6 cents a word. So and so pays X amount per word. I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think that this is the best way to conceive of a service like this. And from this point on, I think you should take a lot of what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I'm going to be getting a bit philosophical. So essentially, if you want to know how much you could make off of your project, potentially, if it were put into Kindle Vella, the formula is very simple, and it's on the screen right now. You can take your total word count, divide it by 100, and multiply it by the two numbers that you see up on the screen right now. That will give you the low range and the high range if somebody reads the entire story from start to finish. Now this, like Kindle Unlimited, if you have your work enrolled in KDP Select, requires somebody to read the entire work, which means that you need to make sure that your work is sticky enough that people will stay around and actually make it through to the end. So if we want to be honest, the real value here is 0 to the max value, but I think that that's just overly pessimistic, and we want to be looking at how much we could potentially make per book for all of this to make sense. So to help you understand this is my book, Liquid Sky. This is the first book in the Liquid Sky series that I wrote, and these are based off of real numbers. So I can actually tell you how this book breaks down, because it really shows the philosophical part that I want to get into here. So this book, if it were put into Kindle Vella, would cost a reader between $1.94 and $3.12, depending on how they buy their coins. Now, I've heard some people say that that is a ripoff, and that is an ecumenical matter. It's a built-in problem that will come from any system that uses an in-game currency like this, where the value of a coin is variable based on whether or not you buy them in bulk. Capitalism. Yay. Okay. So at that cost to reader, I would stand to make between 97 cents and $1.56 for each complete book sold. How does that stack up to my other options here? Well, I'm just comparing Kindle here. Because, well, it's really hard to sell books outside of Amazon, and that's a whole other topic in and of itself. Let's look at their other two products and see how it stacks up. My Liquid Sky series does really well in Kindle Unlimited. I like having it over there because of that. Now, you notice under cost to reader, I just kind of blanked out here. Kindle Unlimited, I believe, is $10 a month for a reader to have, but depending on the cost per book really ranges. If you read one book that month, then that book costs you $10. If you read a bunch of books, they cost less. Oh wait, that's the same problem with anything that has a weird in-game currency, like how many books can you read in a month? Yeah, see, so the cost to reader is variable in both of these situations. Again, I'm not casting aspersions here. I'm just saying it's an issue that I've heard people making that I think is a non-issue, personally. So, how much do I make per book? Now, this is based off of my actual stats. I went back, I loaded up my KDP dashboard, and I looked for a complete and total read of just this book in Kindle Unlimited. I make $2.49. That's awesome. I like that. It's a good amount of the monies, especially on a per book basis. When we compare it to the Kindle store, why do I say this? Because this book's been out for a long time. Liquid Sky has been out for about 15 years. And over that time, I've tried it at different price points. I've tried it in different formats. I've tried a lot of different things to sell this book. The one thing that I've learned is for this book, at the size that it is in the series, its peak sales happen at $1.99. If I bring that up to anything over $2, sales dropped. Sometimes completely to zero, depending on how high that price went. So $2. At $2, I'm only able to make a 30% royalty, which means I make 70 cents a sale. So 70 cents a sale, $2.50 for a KU, or 97 cents to a $1.56 if it were in Kindle Vella. Now, this math will not be the same for you. And that's where all of this starts falling apart. Number one, depending on your audience, your genre, and what the market can bear, and the size of your books, the value at which you can set them in the store varies. And once you get over $2.99, you can sell the book for a 70% royalty. There's also the whole, if you're in KDP Select at all, you can set a higher royalty, all of that. But this is my real experience with this book and with this series, which is one of the things that is most similar to what I'm writing now in a lot of ways. So let's look at what I'm writing now. I am working on a 5.5 book series with an estimated 403,200 words. Hey, that's awesome. This book series then will, on Kindle Vella, potentially make me between, if somebody reads every issue from start to finish, between 1227 and 1982. Yay. Now, the number on this page that you need to take with the biggest grain of salt is the second one, the Kindle Unlimited. I kind of have a feel for what I think the algorithm is doing when it determines how many normalized pages your book is, and I believe it's based off of character count and blah, 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 blah. So based off of the character count of my book and how I see my other books getting their normalized pages counts done up, I estimated my normalized page count for this series in total, and that's how I came up with this number of 3198. Now, this number is completely fictitious, and anybody who's doing any Kindle Unlimited numbers needs to be clear with that, because one, this is an unfinished project. I do not know its normalized page count, number one. Number two, the value of the global fund that determines the value of a page read changes every month. So there's no real way to know how much a book could potentially make, only how much books have made in the past. The Kindle store, on the other hand, I know exactly how much the series would make because I was going to give away the novella, the half part in the 5.5, for free as a reader magnet to pull people in. And the other 5 I was going to sell, so that means a potential royalty there of $13.97 for a book sale if I sold every book in the series. Now, a lot of people have been making a lot out about giving away those free chapters at the beginning. I just want to point out, if you look at the total estimated sales here, at least for this series, it's like less than a quarter per book I'm losing, and I'm willing to do that. Remember, just to sell books and to get people reading it on Kindle Unlimited, I was willing to give away an entire 19,000 word novella for free to pull people into the series. So that's something that I've learned that I need to do throughout my career to get an audience and make people know that a book exists. And that's just part of the price of doing business. You very often will have to give a taste, you'll have to give a sample, and that's just the way things go. Even in the Kindle store itself, there's a free sample there that people get to read, and you don't get paid if they read just that free sample. That's just the way the industry works. So, is Kindle Vella a good thing? Please stop asking this question. This is where you need to ask yourself what you want. Number one, what kind of a writer are you? What do you want out of your writing? And what do you want out of the platforms that you're selling on? See, what excites me about Kindle Vella is I'm working on a 5.5 book serial that I was planning on serializing anyway. So for me, this slots right into my marketing plan. I was planning on serializing the story anyway. Oh, look, here's a platform I can serialize it on. So yay, I don't have to change my outlines. I don't have to really mess with any of that. I can just get up and running and go. Yay. Also, they want 12 to 15 chapters to be in there before you publish. That way people can start binging the work. Well, I'm going to have a 12 chapter novella finished in a couple weeks. So yay, I will already have those chapters done. So I've already worked out a deal with an editor to help me do the editing as I'm writing. So for me, this becomes my way of initial distribution. So as I'm writing, I'm working off of an outline, so I already know the whole story. I've worked out the entire story. I will be writing chapters. I will be doing my initial edits on them. I will be sending them out to my editor. My editor will send me their notes. We'll do all that process there, and then it goes up on a chapter by chapter basis, which means, unlike all of my previous works, I have a potential of actually making money on this project during the drafting period. I don't have that for my other works. I was actually looking at doing something like that for this project anyway. If I don't like Kindle Vella, I will probably still send it over there. Now, if I'm going to play around with Kindle Vella, I can't do that, which makes me a little bit sad, but I have some other ideas for things that I can do for the Patreon, so I'm fine with that. I've never been able to make money off of a story while I am drafting it. That's exciting for me. I've also always wanted to do serials. I've wanted to do serials for a long time. I had a contract with Plimpkin back in the day, and I got really excited, and then they went bust before I actually got to put a story up, but so that's a thing. And I've actually done serial publication previously with the Fates Harvest stories. And again, I had a lot of fun with that. I really enjoyed it. And of course, they decided to go a different way with the company, and I don't want to get into all that because it brings sadness. I don't want sadness today. But I love serials, and it's something that I really want to do. So I'm already in on that. Also, you can't make money in a store that you're not in. You don't know where your audience is, and that's the other big thing. If you're an independent author, you need to find out where your audience is and focus your efforts over there. My audience, as I have discovered through experimentation, is primarily on Kindle Unlimited. They're people that want to pick up my series and start at book one and just whoop through them. They don't do the same thing as much in the Kindle store. I've learned this over time. It makes me sad. But that's where my audience is. So if I want to make money, that's probably where I should be. I've never had the option of Kindle Vella, so I don't know, and I'm going to experiment with it. Worst thing that happens is I find out that I don't like Kindle Vella, I unpublish the book over there, and go back onto the old publishing schedule. No problems for me. And those are the questions you need to be asking yourself. What do you want out of publishing? What do you want your career to look like? Do you know where your fans are? Do you know where you will be making money off your project? Because we can go back and look at how much you make depending on how you're selling it all day. But if I'm selling 3 times as many books on Kindle Vella as I was on any of the other platforms, I'm making more money over there in total. This is how the capitalism works, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to sell at a discount so that you can make it up in volume. Am I saying that that's going to happen with Kindle Vella? No, I don't know. None of us know. It's a new platform. We'll have to see. And that's the question. Do you want to experiment with it? Because even after it launches, unless it's a complete and utter disaster and goes away immediately, which is a possibility. Remember Kindle Scout? Anybody? Anybody? Just me then. As usual. But yeah, you're going to have to test it for yourself. You're going to figure out where your readers are, where your audience is. Are they in audiobooks? Are they on Kobo? Where are they? You're only going to find them if you're looking for them. As my great-grandfather always used to say, you can't catch a fish if you're not putting the hook in the water. And that's true. It's true. It's
Obnoxiously cliche.
but it's true. You have to put your hooks in to see if you can hook anything. And since I really want to write serials, this is where I'm going to go. So again, I put the formula up. You can see what you would make off of your stories and get an idea of how much you could potentially make. I didn't put the formula up for Kindle Unlimited because it's obnoxious and it changes all the time. And I know if I did put the formula in, they would push an update to how Kindle Unlimited works. And it would my estimates would no longer matter. So that's why I say take that number with a huge grain of salt for the projection, because I actually assume that it will be somewhere between about half that to that number. But yeah, I don't know, and none of us know. And the question here is not how much are you worth as an author. The question is, where is your audience at? Because that's what we have to be asking ourselves. Until you know where your audience is and where you will be able to monetize your fiction, I hate to say it, but this is a hobby until you're doing that. So yeah, I'm going to be trying Kindle Vella, and I'm going to let you all know how I'm doing with that, how I like the process. And I'm going to be talking about every part of the process. We'll see how all of this works, because if you don't try, you don't know. And I was really scared when it came to Kindle Unlimited. But like I said, it's been the thing that has made me the most money off of my work, which is sad but true. So I hope I answered your questions. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to unpack here. And I also hope I didn't overwhelm you with all the things that there are. If you have any other questions, do let me know, and I will do my best to answer them either in the comments or in a future video, because at least for now, this isn't going away, and I do plan, like I said, to experiment with it and see what I can make of it. But yeah, let me know what your questions are. Are you going to be trying Kindle Vella? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video and you'd like me to do more of these kind of research videos, they take a lot more time than my other videos because making the slides, doing the math, double, triple, quadruple checking the math and everything, it takes more time to do videos like this. So consider maybe subscribing to my Patreon or my Ko-fi. It does help out a lot because unfortunately, when I'm trying to figure out where to spend my time, because of capitalism, a lot of those decisions come down to whether or not it makes financial sense for me to do it. And so I spend most of my time working on stories and podcasts. I hope that this was helpful. And until next time, remember, we have to speak up and make the world a better place. If we don't, we will never stop Asian hate. We will never get the people that refuse to understand that Black Lives Matter to know that Black Lives Matter, that Black trans lives matter, and that trans identities are magic. And until we meet again, may you have the courage to write your dreams into reality. And don't forget to have the fun. Bye.